Welcome to another episode of the True Beast Podcast, brought to you by xdog.com, where you can find the world's greatest health enhancement harness for dogs, the X-Dog Fitness Vest. Exercising your dog has never been easier or more convenient than with the X-Dog Fitness Vest. So if you're looking to level up your dog's life or enhance its overall health, be sure to check out xdog.com. And today we have episode 56. I got my boy Jamarcus on the ones and two, and Mr. T-Fit Trevor over here. And of course, we have a special guest I want to introduce. He goes by the name of Jonathan Katz. He owns a business called Katz Knows Dogs Training out of Long Island. He has a PSA club called Strong Island Working Dogs. And he's a pretty renowned trainer, to say the least. When you talk about being able to try to get a level 3 in PSA, he has two already.
Three.
Well, I was going to say two with one leg. Right underneath.
No.
Oh, yeah, so you're going for your fourth.
Yeah, number 10, number 21, number 26 out of 31 dogs.
Holy shit. Yeah. So I apologize.
No, you're good.
I stand corrected. Yeah. But here you go, guys. Jonathan Katz, man. Welcome from all the way from New Jersey, brother.
Thank you so much.
Now, it's kind of ironic, Trevor. Well,
hold on. What brought you to Dallas? That's the first question I got to know.
So I spend most of my year traveling to different places every weekend, giving seminars and working with different trainers and working with dog owners. And so last year, I kind of burnt myself out by being in a different place every single weekend.
It's 52 weeks of traveling. It's rough, man.
It's rough. Even if I take a couple months off after nationals to kind of hibernate and get my head back right to go back out, it's brutal. So this year, I decided I was just going to do 1-2 month road trip, drive out to California, and then basically do a bunch of seminars in California and on the way back. And I got done yesterday with my last day and getting ready to head home, but wanted to come in and see my buddy Stan.
Yeah. So what I was about to say is I think it was 2010, 2011. Yeah. I was introduced to him through a trainer by the name of Bill Ellinger, right? And he's a dog trainer out of Arizona. And he's like, man, you got to, interview. I recommend interviewing Jonathan Katz. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's link up. But we were just talking about it. It was funny because there wasn't no internet. We talked on the phone, recorded it, and then put it on a website, and then let people listen to it that way. So it's kind of amazing to watch his growth and to see, he got to witness our growth over here and continue this relationship. So let's talk about the three dogs then. Yeah. So Uzi, right? Yep. He deceased. He was the number 10.
Yep.
Now, with him, let's talk about that journey right there with him. How did you get him? What got you into PSA, and what made you decide to compete with him?
Explain I don't know what the number 10 means, guys. I don't know anything about PSA.
So in last year, PSA, we had our 20th anniversary. Yeah. So it is the longest running and most successful American-bred protection sport for dogs. Right, a lot of people do the European sports, and that's where Mondio Ring, French Ring, Schutzen, or IPO, where these are where our dogs come from. Right, they come from Europe. They were bred for these sports. The sports were used as breed suitability tests to whether the dog should be bred or not.
Oh man, that's sick.
And so, but I'm American, and I'm proud to be an American. And I have love and respect for all the European sports, but it didn't really fit into my training. I train protection dogs, I train police dogs, and so I needed something for me that was going to be more surprise scenario based. And that's basically how the sport was created. A bunch of police dog trainers got together and decided they were going to test their training on the field, because when you take your police dog and put it in your vehicle for the day, you don't know what that dog's going to see, right? Yeah. He might come out of the vehicle 10 times and just go potty, or he might come out and have to chase down a bad guy and then track for a missing kid and then search for some narcotics. They don't know, so they have to recreate all these scenarios in training to prepare the dog for what they might see out in the field.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. So this is kind of my perspective of how I see PSA versus the Mondio Ring, French Ring, other ring sports. I look at those sports as kind of like karate, taekwondo. Mm-hmm. But when I look at PSA, it's MMA. Yeah, it's because you don't know if you're going to run into a crackhead. You don't know if you're going to run into... And a lot of those ring sport dog that are trained to hit certain targets where I've seen PSA dogs take crotch bites. They'll take anything they can get, whatever gives them an advantage, in most cases.
Yeah, so when we're charging at the dogs, because PSA is kind of the football also of protection sports, meaning it's a full contact sport.
Yeah.
And on full sends, when we're the decoy is charging at the dog. They kind of meet in the middle. They absorb the dog's pressure so that the dog doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
But they're meeting in the middle. So when it comes to that full contact sport, we need the dog to know where they're supposed to go. So the dog can target a bicep, the dog can target a leg. And then we'll also have other scenarios where we block the dog's target and we fend the dog off. You know, think about like the mailman, the UPS man having to deal with the rogue dog in the yard. And now, like, I've taught demos for...
I'm only laughing because, you know, you see this stuff on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
where
Oh,
these
no, this
people-
is real life.
Or the mailmen, like, they don't even know what to do. They're, like, frightened and frantic. Oh, it's hilarious.
And then I've taught, like, I did for UPS one time. It was a health and safety fair, and I did a demo and showed them how to fend a dog off with a package.
How not to get bit,
Yeah,
basically.
like use this package to create space between you and the dog because you don't want to get bit.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know, I went out to Marksville, New York with Bill and with Kirk to Gail Raponi's place, right?
Yep.
And so we were doing some filming for Way of the Canine Trainer, and they were in. So, for example, we had Bill's wife in the office area up here, right?
Yep.
And then everybody was consolidating in the kitchen, and then you know you had a couple of like Gail's sons over here, and then I was in the living room, right?
Yeah.
But it was cold up there, so I had a bubble goose on. And they had the dog in the kitchen. Well, I just happened to peek around the corner, and the dog targeted me, right? And so, and Gail don't have, like, he has American Bull Molossus. When I say it's a working massive breed, you're talking 130, 140 pound dog that will work and put some damage on you. Well, I was sitting there watching TV, and they send the dog, and the dog comes my way, hits the corner. I'm like, that sounds pretty close. I turn around, and I'm just like, boom, 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 Honda style palm fisting. And the only thing that saved me is that he had slick floors because I ran out of real estate. I hit
that
the wall,
leverage.
I came down.
Yep.
The dog came here and his wife grabbed it by the collar. I
Saved
told
by
you,
the bell.
dog. I felt like I had about 35 cups of a coffee right
Yes.
after that. My adrenaline rush because the dog was coming after me, and I was he was so big. I was able to palm his head every time he was trying to get at me, and he was slick. It was slick floor, but I could
Got
see
those
where
moves
that,
like Jagger.
Yeah, I guess that that makes sense to train. You know, a UPS guy or a post office guy how to do that shit.
Sounds like a big opportunity as well to grow the brand.
Oh, for sure.
Let's segue back to Uzi.
Yeah, Uzi.
So now you know number 10, right? So you understand, like, there's only so many dogs who've ever accomplished
There's
it
31 dogs in the world
out of the last 20 years.
31 dogs in the world. No, now I know.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So 31 dogs total that have ever achieved, level 3 PSA?
PSA 3.
How many dogs have attempted? Or even...
So 2019, the failure rate in the threes was 100%. Ooh. Meaning up until nationals where Jerry Bradshaw, the creator of the sport, closed out his third dog. So you need 2 legs, meaning you have to do it twice. So it can't be a fluke, right? So like that second leg reaffirms that the first leg was correct, right? That they earned it. But it's totally surprised. You don't know what you're going to see until you hit that field that day. You know what your core behaviors are. So like in obedience, there's like 27 core behaviors, but the variable is like 1,000 variables for each behavior. So it's really complicated by way of, it's kind of like a puzzle, but you don't have the actual picture of what the front of the box on the puzzle looks like.
Yeah, it's only painted at the end when you get your trophy and they take the picture.
Yeah, so when it comes to, it really takes an out-of-the-box thinker. It takes someone that can problem solve on the fly and in the moment. Now, when we go to trial, we have a handlers meeting. So they run us through and tell us what we're about to do, but you have like 10 minutes to think about it and then run through it, right? So in training, I don't allow myself or my handlers to like have that 10 minutes to thought process. I make them think about it in the moment because that's going to give them a leg up when they go to trial and they have the 10 minutes to figure it out. So the fact that
you throw them in the lion's den, basically.
In training, so that in trial we don't throw them to the wolves. Yeah,
that's why it's like I said, it's like going in a fight, man. Like you're training, the hard work's already done.
You're, honestly, when you get done, you feel like you're fighting for your life, right? Your adrenaline's pumping, your voice is cracking a little bit because you've raised your voice because the dog has no collars or leashes on. We have no way of controlling this animal other than our voice, and now we have to project our voice. right?
Yeah.
And your adrenaline's pumping, so like everything's going to be heightened. And when you get done and you actually like, you'll take a deep breath, or as judges, we'll tell competitors, we're like, hey, breathe. You're not breathing.
So let me ask you this, and this, hopefully this question doesn't rub you or anybody. Well, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But the gist of it is how important then is the bonding part? Since when you walk in the ring, there's no e-collars.
Yeah.
That dog has to trust you.
Yeah.
There's got to be a love component.
You're a team.
You're a team. So
your
then
dog.
it's like, can you train your dog on the prong and e-collar if you can't go in there with no like your dog really has to know who you are.
Yeah.
So that little marker that they call, which I'm not against it, but it's like the dog don't fucking fuck with you. You gonna find out in that moment like all that shit
100%.
was a waste of time doing the prong and e-collar training.
Yeah. Well, the collars are like training wheels on a two-wheel bicycle. They're help us basically create the behaviors and condition the behaviors, but we shouldn't need the collars once the behavior is created.
Absolutely.
Right? So for me, the key test is when I first started in PSA, there was only 6. This is 2006. There were only 6 dogs. So that's 1 dog a year. And I was like, well, like a Schutzen 3 or a French Ring 3 or a Mondeo 3 is extremely impressive, but I'd rather be on that list of those 6 people. And when Uzi got his PSA 3, he was the 10th dog. It was basically the 10th year anniversary, and there was only 1 dog a year. Now, training's getting better, right? So, like, when my second dog, Cougar, who was number 21, got inducted, she got inducted with Stacy Beller, right?
It's like Tom Brady. Tom Brady, people think he won so many, but it took 10 years to win another one. So 10 years later, you hit that 10-year mark. Well, we back.
You can't take away that he's the GOAT, right?
Yeah. It wasn't
whether you like. I don't even like football. I don't like sports. I like dog sports.
I have no clue what's going on, but I love stories, right? So for me, you go, it took 10 years for him to get back there.
Yeah, and the thing I always use for like young handlers that haven't built a lot of success because maybe they've been broken down a little bit, I go, what did Michael Jordan's first high school coach tell him? He said, you suck.
Yeah.
You're never going to make it. And my entire life, people have told me, you'll never amount to anything. And my entire life, it's been my job to prove not them wrong, but myself right.
Yeah.
I know what's in my head. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do.
Now, let me ask you this question. So, with Uzi and Cougar, like you said, like training got better, right?
Yep.
But did the actual sport and challenges evolve and get harder?
I mean, it's literally the most ridiculous thing you can ever do in dog sports. So it couldn't get any harder. We changed some rules to make it fair. So it used to be when Uzi got his PSA 3, as many decoys were at the trial, the judge could put on the field. So I might have 10 guys out there in suits.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to now deal with all of that pressure. But how do I create 10 guys in suits in training when most clubs only have like 1 or 2 or 3 decoys?
Maybe.
Yeah.
If they're lucky,
Yeah.
for sure, And so, like, how do I recreate that? So I started training decoys because my access to decoys, if I train them, then I can have them to help me train my dog. But we changed the rule that now there can only be 4 decoys on the field for obedience, because in the PDC, there's no decoy. In the 1, there's 1 decoy. In the 2, there's 2. And in the 3, there's 4. So we just double up each time, right? The number, right, times 2. But now, so now if I train with my 10 decoys, but I only have to deal with 4 on the field, I can set my dog up for success, right? Train harder so that when you go to trial, it should be easier. But the word easy is like relative, right? Because again, I'm talking about like 1 year you had an entire year where every single person failed, and there's multiple people trying. Right? But as we learn how to do this, as we get better, as more people are competing.
Yeah.
Right?
So you guys are still defining the sport too.
Oh,
then.
yeah. I mean, 20 years is a huge step in an American dog sport. But I mean, think about where it's going to be in 40 years or 50 years. And think about Schutzen's been around since, the late 1800s, early 1900s. You know, you're talking about a long period of time. Whereas, in 20 years, we have built so much momentum. We've exported to all these countries because think about, like, we're exporting to the UK right now, which is amazing, which I'm super excited for. The UK trainers are not going to do the French sport.
Yeah.
The UK trainers are not going to do the German sport. They wanted another sport to do, and instead of starting their own sport, well, let's just export this super successful sport to their country, and it fits into their training. They like big monster dogs. They like dogs that bite under control, right? And that is the true animal. You know, like to me, a dog that just bites is not really impressive because he has no control. Put control into that dog and show me precise obedience, and he bites the same way.
Yeah,
that impresses me.
Yeah.
Do you think
I love control?
It kind of reminds me of like Blockbuster and then Netflix comes around streaming and stuff. So I'm thinking like, do you think Schutzen fucked up by not like evolving into doing the things? Did it, you know what I mean? Because why not? Why wouldn't you want to compete in like Schutzen or
the pattern is pretty much always in Schutzen the pattern is always the same, and the complexity about that is keeping it interesting for the dog. It's like if you ate the same, I love ice cream, but if I ate the same flavor of ice cream every day, I get really bored with it. So to keep it exciting, they have to change it up for the dog, but trial is always going to be the same. The cool part about PSA is it's like any given Sunday. You don't know what's going to happen. You might see a dog get ran off the field, right? We give the dog a prey bite, so like we make the dog successful. We don't like to let the dog leave being afraid, but then like a dog might not out.
Yeah.
Or a dog might earn their leg of their 3, which is like monumental. You know, it's like setting fire to the rain. You know, like it's such an amazing accomplishment that these trainers, you know, like it's their heart and soul, right? They're in the history of the 31 dogs, there has never been one PSA 3 dog ever sold. What does that tell you about these dogs? These are these handlers' prized possessions. I'd rather live in a cardboard box with my 2 PSA 3 dogs than sell them.
Oh man,
Right?
I feel the same way about the dogs that I have as well, and I understand that.
Yeah,
they've been
it's
through
that
a lot.
love, it's that bond. You've been through a lot together.
Yeah.
Right? It's when you get a PSA 3, everyone's like, oh, let's go out, let's celebrate, champagne. I'll tell you, every single time I've closed out a 3, I go home and I take a nap because I'm tired, because I've had this knot in my stomach, this tension that has not been alleviated until now, and now I can actually sleep, right? I'll celebrate later, but it's the release of pressure.
Yeah, that anxiety, that nerve, that stress, it's a real thing, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real thing.
And when I coach people, I've been coaching people at a national level for a long time. I've stood on the podium with multiple dogs, over my 10 years of competing in multiple places. At national champion, I'm like, 8 or 10 times like national vice champion, right? But I've been on the podium and I've coached many people at the podium. Performance anxiety is a huge aspect of competing with your animal.
We talk about this all the time. There's a lot of world champion athletes or fighters in the gym who just cannot turn it on when the lights are turned on.
Yeah.
It's a different animal.
Yeah.
I mean, I've experienced it on a personal level. I've had kids who are like, man, he's okay in the gym, gets his ass whooped all the time. But when the lights turn on, he's killing kids or she's killing kids. Yeah. And it's that anxiety, man, pressure busts pipes. And it's a real fucking thing, man. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, and so, let's talk about where your journey began and what made you decide to like, hey, I want to take this on a career path.
And I'm guessing you use Shepherds or which kind of dog?
I bred Malinois Belgian Malinois for 12 years, but I train all breeds. I started with a rescue pit. He was 4 months old in the pound, had parvo, took him to dog training school with me. And I was just very lucky that he had the ability to do protection work. I didn't select him for it, so if he wasn't able to do it, I couldn't be mad at him for it. And so the idea is that the dog was able to do it, so that was my in. Like that dog broke me into protection sports and protection training. My first dog that I rescued, like back in 2002, was he was just aggressive and he was protective over me, but I couldn't control it. I couldn't turn it on, and I couldn't turn it off. And I was like, you know what? I want to be able to have that power, but with control, right? And so, Snoopy was, as I said, like a pound rescue, but he, thank God, he loved to work and he bit really well. But the saying is, if you want to win, you get a Malinois, because you're like, you want to race, get the best car that you can possibly can for the race. Now you could say, well, my old broken down car, like I love that thing and that's my favorite car. But like you say, I want to actually win the race. It's not right. It's about, getting the right car to help you win the race. Right. And I'm also a very lazy handler. Right. I need a dog that will motivate me, because my pit bull and we'd sleep for 12 hours. Cool, bro, no problem.
Yeah.
And then the Malinois are like, they'll wake you up. They're like, hey, get up and work me. And that adds motivation to my life. So I needed a higher drive dog because I'm not going to let my dog suffer. I'm not going to let my dog's energy and drive go to waste.
It's funny that you put it like that, too, just because I know pit bulls, they've got two extremes. People don't understand. Like, even a great bred pit bull, they can relax, man. They can relax.
And I love it. It's amazing. When I want to chill, I just want to chill. Yeah. And my two older girls, Puma lays down, relaxes, and then Cougar's just like pacing around the house. Like, she can't turn it off. And I'll tell her to turn it off, and she will turn it off, but her mind always wants to work. And I love and respect that dog for the amount of drive that she has. Because
feel
it's
her
like,
pain.
Yeah.
And Cougar's Malinois or pit?
Malinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
as he said, the story, though, so you got into it. Well, clearly it started with rescues.
Yeah, I started with rescue. I rescued my first dog out of a kind of like a frat house situation. Yeah. Neglected, abused, took the dog, and moved into an apartment with a bunch of friends, and all of the dog's aggression came out. Yeah. And the dog had bit 6 people, and I'm like, man, I got to hire a dog trainer.
Yeah.
And I hired a dog trainer, and it was the biggest waste of money, right? The guy was afraid of the dog. We worked on the same thing for 4 weeks. And I said, this can't be dog training. There has to be something better out there.
He'd have been a great decoy.
Yeah.
Let's get you in the suit, buddy. We'll break all that fear up real quick.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
So who did you learn under?
So I first started, because that one dog trainer couldn't help me.
Yeah.
I started on a journey. I started doing research. I started applying what I was learning online. Mm-hmm. And then in my search for knowledge, I found dog training school. And so I was a classically trained chef. I was working on South Beach under a famous chef, and I decided I don't want to do this anymore.
Cooking food.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked in the food industry from age 13. Went to culinary school, because that was my career path. Right. Originally, as a little kid, I wanted to be an industrial designer. Yeah. Because I was always thinking about products, and then I wanted to be a chef because that was my art. Right. I come from an artistic family, and that was it's just temporary art. But it's art. Yeah. And then now my passion became art is the dog, right? The dog in motion. To me, a dog is like a motorcycle. It's art, but in motion. Yeah.
Hey, right? I literally do the same. I watch my dogs move. I've got all the locomotion books. Yeah. I'm literally studying how the muscles work together, when they stop engaging. Yeah. And I've been that same fascination started with the human body. I said, man, this thing is really amazing when you look at it. Oh, yeah. And you really break it down into how it functions.
Yeah. Yeah. Being a culinary chef, that's probably my favorite art to experience. I love eating. I'm a foodie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'm with you on that. I can cook real good too.
Yeah.
Yes. So did you?
Yeah. So I rescued this dog. He bit 6 people. This can't be dog training. And in my research, I found dog training school. So I went and I did a 3-month program at Triple Crown, which is now called Star Mark Academy. They gave me, my foundation, and I went back. I took a police canine course because I literally got home from my 3-month course, and I was like, I felt like Tyrone Biggums. Like, is this the 5 o'clock free crack giveaway? Yeah. I was all excited, and all I wanted to do was now learn more because I got the itch. I got the bug. And so I literally turned around and went back to Texas, did a month-long police canine course, and then I decided I could train a dog, but I couldn't work with people. I didn't understand how to motivate people.
That's 2 different things. And
it's two totally different skill sets. Yeah. And they're both extremely important skill sets in the dog training industry because here's the deal. I've never had a dog drive themselves to my house with a check in their mouth. Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's about the client.
But he said the same thing. He said, man, if only dogs could sign checks.
Right? Yeah. It'd be awesome. But so the human element is so important, and I needed to learn how to work with people. And I tried a few internships. I wasn't really happy with what they were doing or the way that they did it. And so I contacted my original mentor and I said, what do I do? He goes, go find yourself an apprenticeship, right? Dog training, just like culinary, woodworking or leatherworking or anything as a traditional career was always done through apprenticeships. Now, dog training school is awesome because it's a fast track. I can take 6 months off of my life and then basically come back and actually be a professional dog trainer. right? As opposed to spending a year and a half studying under one person, and then, then I still have to kind of find my journey when I'm done. But I had the dog training school background. I needed to learn how to work with people, so I did a 1.5-year apprenticeship, and that was kind of my break-in. They also, the same company had a PSA club, and that's basically where I started. They taught me how to use the e-collar, and the key thing was they got me in front of people, right? I got to shadow a trainer going from house to house, learning how to sell. But the head marketing guy at the company, he was a hard sell, and I don't like a hard sell, right? I want you to feel comfortable with me as a dog trainer, because if you trust me, then you'll trust what I suggest for you to do with your dog, right? And I'd watch this guy go in and like hard sell these people and leave with a check. And I'm like, man, I don't know how you did that, but a lot of the times the people left handing the check going, I don't even know what just happened. And I don't like that. I want people to be on board, and the owner is the process, right? As you said, it's about coaching the owner, and they can coach the dog. I actually do very minimal hands-on with my clients' dogs. I'll show them a little bit if they need help, because some people are visual learners, but I want them to do it because I don't need the dog to listen to me. I need the dog to listen to them. Right? True. So like I go and I give seminars, maybe 2-3% of the time I ever touch someone's leash. I want to show them how to do it. Right? It's the difference of, give someone a fish, teach them how to fish, right? And now in my stage of my career, all I want to do is teach people how to fish. This is my new passion, is training trainers. Right? Because some of the stuff that I was taught in the beginning didn't work for me. It worked for the people that taught me, but it didn't work for me, and I had to figure out my own journey, and that's part of the process. Everyone needs to figure out their own journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that totally makes sense. I guess, yeah, in a second. I guess the reason why I was asking that is because I was wondering if anybody who's got a 3 has trained someone else in their club to also accomplish that.
I'm a statistics guy, right? Koi Fam. Right? Besides, now he just got his 3 with KP. He's number 31. Okay. But I think it's either 4 or 5 other dogs before he ever got his 3. He coached them to PSA 3. And that's an amazing accomplishment. It's the same thing with like Jerry Bradshaw, right? The creator of the sport. He has multiple people that he coached to a 3. But now I have 3 3s myself, but I've yet to coach anyone to a 3.
Isn't that interesting? It's like, usually when you want to accomplish something, you go to somebody who's already done it. And with Koi, he's accomplished it, and he just done it.
Yeah, but Michael Jordan's second coach, that was the one that actually helped him. He wasn't, like, I don't know, I mean, you can tell me I'm wrong, but he wasn't a professional basketball player. So the coach doesn't always need to.
That totally makes sense.
The coach has the ideas, right? It's the player that has to actually play it out. So the skill set as a training director, as a coach, is what do you produce? Right? And so now I have multiple handlers. I had one handler that I helped. She had a first leg of her 3, but unfortunately the dog got old. She didn't close it out.
And what's old in this sport?
It's relative to the dog's body, right? So it's all in how we condition the animal. It's all in how we prepare the dog for their job. I'm super conscious of injuries, because just like human athletes, how many kids leave high school, go into college, and then have a career-ending injury in college before they ever make it to the big leagues, and they never make any money off of it, right? And it makes me really sad, because we wasted all of our good performance in college, right?
That's why college sports, they're more entertaining. For damn sure, but they got a lot more on the line. We got everything to lose and everything to gain. So it's 2 extremes, right?
So the dog's performance is really important, the health of the body. So like I retired Uzi at 9.
Oh, so he was working at least till 9 years old.
Oh, yeah. And he was my bomb dog and my patrol dog when I used to work for the Israeli government. So he has live fines, live bites. When I came,
you was in Israel.
Yeah, I went to school in Israel after high school, and I was standing in a square with a bunch of friends, and 3 blocks away there was a suicide bombing. And at 18 years old, you see the duality of man. Like it's really awakening. Right now, I grew up in New York City. I saw a lot at a very young age. But like that was a very pivotal moment in my life. And so when I became a dog trainer, my dream was to go back to Israel and train bomb dogs. Right. And so I finished my apprenticeship. The company I was working for basically lied about all their promises of, I was going to be, New York's like that part of the business in New York City because I was born and raised in the city. I know the city. And so I quit the company and I basically picked up all my stuff. I got a grant from the Israeli government to go over and basically train bomb dogs.
Wow.
So Uzi was my bomb dog and my patrol dog. And when I came back, we basically just started competing. And so, I raised the dog specifically for PSA from the start. That's why I got him. Also as a demo dog, right, to demonstrate what my training is capable of.
That's funny because, people don't understand you got to have this dog. I tell people in the breeding space, you got to have a working dog or a brand dog.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the dog that does everything, like nobody really
dog.
sees it, but like the dog that the demo can be around people, all that stuff, do real with kids.
Yeah.
And that showman, and then that one that's like go to war for you.
Yeah. That dog was a Swiss Army knife. Right? Yeah. Like he was the one, he had the one with the mirror on it, or the magnifying glass, like that dog, I think when I finished him, he had like 45 different commands, the dog did everything off leash, that was my demo piece of the first, X amount of years in my career of what I was capable of. And a couple of years ago, PSA inducted him into the Hall of Fame, right? And he didn't get into the Hall of Fame because he had won championships, right? He got into the Hall of Fame because the dog was a warrior and because of how difficult it was to train him. I made the beginning mistakes on my pit bull, and then I made a lot more mistakes on Uzi, and then Cougar, I made less mistakes, and then Puma, I made no mistakes, right? Or, I'm a human being, so maybe I made a mistake, but I changed it right there.
And that's the part that people don't understand. It is an everyday battle with your dog.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get out there, and I mean, to get a determined dog, you have to be determined.
100%. Oh, yeah. And to do something like PSA 3 takes determination.
Yeah.
Right? I've been a sounding board for a bunch of the competitors, people that actually closed out their 3 that I didn't have a hand in training. But when I get a call on a Saturday night after a trial from a level 3 competitor, they're usually calling me for a pep talk.
Yeah.
They're usually calling me to go, Jonathan, how did you go through all this adversity and then succeed? And I go, it's just determination. It's hard will. Yeah. But people will say that my training has kung fu magic. I'm like, there's no kung fu magic. I'm just flowing with the dog. I figured out what the dog needs, and I gave them what they needed so that I could get the performance that I was looking for.
And that's why I asked about the off-leash thing, because, again, I come from old school dogmen. I said this before. I didn't even know dog training was a thing.
Yeah.
I got them old jokers. They tell the dog to do something, it just does what it says. But the bond, the dog goes everywhere with them. I lived in a very unique part of Kansas City, Missouri, in the ghetto. And there'd be this dude with a pit bull, and he walked down the street every day, all the way down Hillcrest, with a chain on. You say, and he goes to the gas station.
Or homeless people. You look at homeless people, all of them off-leash their dogs.
They're off-leash, they don't go anywhere. 100%. Yeah.
That's the thing. So when you can train the dog, I think people fail to stress the importance of just loving and caring for your dog.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean love is discipline. Love is all those things, but it's just a lot more care goes into it.
I say I'm a helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Right. But the difference is that my kid never leaves the nest, so they never have to be able to be self-sufficient. All their resources come from me.
Yeah.
And they're like that perpetual 16-year-old that just or 18-year-old that never leaves the house. And I don't want them to leave the house, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to helicopter parent them and basically control all aspects of their life to set them up for success, because I want to see them be the best dog that they can be. So
it's almost a perfect example of leadership.
Yeah.
You're setting up the people around you to win,
Yeah.
It boils down to the same thing. So, all right. So you ready to select this winner, Jamarcus?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is we've already selected 3 winners, right? We did a bonus winner last week. So if you guys have not reached out to us, make sure you reach out to us, and you'll be announced on this next episode. So what's the question?
So the question this week is going to be, what's the recommended weight to start your dog with when it comes to the X-Dog vest?
Okay. And who all Did you want to? You want to?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also showed this on the YouTube video as well too, on the Wheel of Fortune, if you will.
So how many people asked this question? Because
five people.
Okay, so we had about we had a lot of people ask similar questions. So how we're going to make this contest fair is we're going to put you in a randomizer, and then we're going to film it on here so it shows proof of who actually won the contest, and the winner's going to win an X-Dog V3 camo vest and matching True Beast leash and collar. Cool. All right, so one of the reasons what makes the X-Dog vest really safe is because we don't even send weights with it. It starts as an empty vest, right? And anything when it comes to do with fixator muscles, stabilizer muscles that will condition the muscles to protect joints, ligaments, and tendons and help reduce injuries is conditioning the muscle gradually. So we have a rule of thumb that's basically there's high velocity training, which is anything to do with like sprint work, jumping, running. And then we have low impact movement, again, which basically is anything like obedience work or controlled leash walk where you can actually control the movement of the dog. You're always want to start from 1% no matter what. And if you're doing any type of high velocity training, we say a rule of thumb, you can condition over 8 to 10 week period up to 6% of the dog's body weight. And for a low impact movement, up to 10%. Will the vest exceed that? Yes. Are dogs different? Of course, like someone like Jonathan, who's an experienced handler, can condition dogs. He may exceed 10%, but for our purposes, you don't really need it to solve a lot of the problems. And if you even get to that point where you're dedicated enough to get up to 10% on low impact movement or 6%, you're going to be very well off with your dog. And then you can just start, giving him a different variety of muscle retention exercises and environments and different ways to mentally stimulate him. But hopefully that answers their question.
Boom, boom. And here are the 5 contestants before I hit the randomizer button. It's going to be Charm City Bullies, Ashley Martis 78, In the Blood, Balix T, and that.decoy.chick.
Oh, no, she already won.
And she already won.
So she didn't qualify.
So she don't qualify. So
she resell. She going to put it on the stock.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And let's go ahead and hit this randomizer.
Do you have are you screen recording?
I'm screen recording. Yep, I got you. Yep. And it looks like the winner is going to be Ashley Martis 78.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, there we go.
Ashley's really dope because she supports us all the time. Boom. Everywhere, everything.
Well, and I like when he says supports us. Objectively, they're supporting the dogs. Yeah. And that's what this is. It's like, hey, supporting us is likes, follows, commenting, engaging with us. But the real support is taking the initiative to invest in your dog's overall quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations, Ashley. So let's get back to this. So what's your current thoughts on the state of dog training? We're talking about social media, egos.
Starting to school.
Yeah.
Up and coming trainers, just like the different perspective that so many different perspectives on dog training that starts so much controversy, including controversy of using dog tools and just the debate on that. Like, what's the current state of dog training right now? And where do you see it in the next 5-10 years?
I mean, social media is an amazing thing because there's so much more information out there. There's so many more pictures and videos and explanations, and people are learning really quickly, and people are getting good quick.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool because if I want to be good at something, I want to be good as quickly as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Right. But the one downside I see from that is people are doing mimicry. They're just watching what people are doing, and they don't necessarily understand why they're doing it and what is the reasoning behind it. And they're just, basically doing what they saw online. So, I used to post a lot more videos of my training, and people would watch the videos and they'd message me and they go, look, I'm trying to copy what you're doing.
Sheesh.
And it's not working. And I go, you're trying to copy my years and years of experience of staring at dogs and reading dog body language. I go, this stuff is so complicated, you can't just mimic it. And I stopped putting the info out there, meaning I stopped putting the videos because I felt like I was setting a bad example by allowing people to just do what they saw me do, but without reading what I was reading by being in the dog's mouth or watching the dog, right? And, early on in my career, bite work protection is what produced dopamine in my brain. It got me excited. Mm-hmm. I had no interest in obedience other than the utilitarianism of it. And then as I furthered in my career, it was no longer the protection that produced the dopamine. Now it's the obedience.
Yeah.
now it went from, Uzi like hoping to get passing scores in obedience and then, winning high in protection. But when it came to Puma, Cougar and then Puma, like it was, I want to win high obedience. And I want my obedience score to reflect my protection score. And when I was raising Cougar, everyone used to say, well, Jonathan can't train obedience. He can train the crap out of a protection dog, but he can't train obedience. And I said, okay, I'll show everyone, but I don't want to show them online. I posted some early videos of her doing like bite work, and I posted no obedience videos for a reason, because I wanted people to see it on the field. Because the field is tangible, right? Who doesn't love and who doesn't want the instant gratification, the instant dopamine of the likes? But and I love it too. Everyone loves it. But it's the gratification of the title, which is tangible, because Instagram can get rid of my account tomorrow if they wanted to.
I think they are low key. I think they are low key. They're the ones.
Mine specifically? Oh,
not yours. I think that's one of their things, man. I think they're the ones that are going out. People's accounts are so-called getting hacked.
Yeah.
Well,
but they try to play me on something. They were like, "Hey, you need to fill this out for your pay." I'm like, "Brian, doing it." And then 2 weeks went away from my notifications, and it just went away. And my page is still fine. But one day I clicked on something like, "Update your birthday."
Yeah.
Well, no post. Couldn't see no post for like 48 hours, man. My own post. You go, bro. This is bullshit.
Well, that's the thing. Like when we talked about Bad Barbie, right? Like she leveraged it where it's like Instagram doesn't control her; she controls it. So now when you like go to her page, you're not going to see anything on her Instagram. You have to go to her OnlyFans, and then when you go to her OnlyFans, they're like 10-second skits, right? From what they're saying is like they're 10-second skits in her lingerie and stuff. But she leveraged that. That's how she's able to make the $55 million in 1 year, because you can delete. You can go ahead and now and delete her, because the 16 million followers mean nothing to her.
They don't make no dollars.
They don't make no dollars on Instagram.
Same thing why I was like, let me go. YouTube's timeless. So we're putting a lot of effort there, and that's where we'll live moving forward.
Yeah.
And TikTok is good, but that's for kids.
TikTok's more just for instant entertainment.
Pure.
There's no knowledge, It's just if I'm bored and I just want to be entertained for a few minutes, I'll go on TikTok, but I go on YouTube to learn.
There you go.
When I wanted to learn how to do leather work, I had a client that did leather work, so she taught me some foundation stuff, and then I learned everything else on YouTube.
Yeah,
right?
YouTube University, man.
And that's my next step right now is when I get home from this trip, I'm going to start putting all of my training on YouTube.
There you go.
And I'm going to give it to the people for free.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's going to be optimization, right?
And once you got a plan, I'm sure you have a sick plan.
For sure, but the idea is let's give the people information, because there's so much misinformation that I'd rather give the people information. Half of my salary every year is given away for free to people, as hopefully it's residual, right? I give you one piece of advice, and then you go, oh, well, Jonathan helped me with that one time, so when he's in my town, I'm going to go to his seminar.
Yeah.
Right? The goal is to get the people to come and get the people to stand in front of me so that I can show them what I'm capable of and show them what I'm capable of helping them and their dog do.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, it's the bad people, it's the people that throw it away that almost, make you hate it. But I said, you know what? Like, I'm an optimist. I err on the side of realism, but I'm an optimist. So I've given away so much training for free. If I'm going to give it away, those people that threw it away, I'm going to give it to everyone. Yeah. Right? Like, I was searching for someone, a YouTube video of how to introduce the e-collar. And so I go to a very, very popular page. Was the first one that came up. And I clicked on it, and, it was a great video. He was talking about all the places he's going to be and all the places he's teaching. And I think that's awesome, but that's a vlog. At the moment, I wasn't looking for a vlog. I was looking for how to. Show me step 1, show me step 2, show me step 3. We can't give everyone everything because we're not in front of them, and every dog's an individual. But the idea is give people enough so that they can introduce the e-collar properly, and that they're not going to hurt the dog, and they're not going to hurt their relationship with the animal, right? Because if they don't have knowledge, what do? Put the collar on, figure out a level, but it's always the wrong level because they don't know what they're looking at. They don't understand the subtleties of dog can't speak. dog talks through body language.
Yeah.
And body language is about subtleties, right? Where do you as reading human body language, where do people move their eyes? When you ask them a question, do they look up, do they look down?
Yeah.
Right?
Linguistics are, I read a book once, it was so fascinating, it's so good. It's almost like I turned into a game. People are so fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love
you go, oh, you guys suck. This is going to be too easy.
I mean, I've seen one of your videos. You say it can ruin a dog. I mean, I've dealt with that in the gym. Like, like for example, like Brendan, he's my employee. He wants to learn boxing. It does, like, you can make an individual gun shy if you hit them hard, right? And you ruin the person because they're always going to flinch. They're going to associate it with pain, and you can ruin, especially like a young kid. So I was teaching him how to block, and he was just like all over the place. I was like, hey, like, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Anything that I do is never going to hurt you. And then after that, he was under control. But you can make an individual gun shy who's trying to fight, and the same thing you could probably do with an e-collar on a dog, right? You can
Same
fuck
thing
them
we
up.
deal with handlers. Right, I get a lot of handlers come in front of me, and I'm like, "What do you want to work on with your dog?" And they're like, "Please don't yell at me." And I'm like, "Yell at you? Why would I yell at you?
Oh, God.
We're here to have fun." They go, "Well, the other trainer I worked with yelled at me," and I'm like, "Well, you should find a new trainer."
Yeah,
because I don't respond well to someone yelling at me.
Yeah,
and so I refuse to teach that way.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right. Sometimes I have to make a big deal and use some punishment, but it's just talking it out with people, explaining to them what they're doing is wrong. It doesn't have to be this big yelling experience, right? I don't like to raise my voice, so I'm going to stay as calm as possible. But we're here for the dogs. We're here to have fun.
Well, in leadership, man, there's a big difference between being passionate and being aggressive, right? Because being passionate, you can inspire people. Yeah. But when you're aggressive, you can get people to close off on you. You know what I mean? And you got to really understand the balance of that, especially, like you said, you had to know people. You weren't very good with people at first, and you had to go learn how to be good with people. And I had to go down that same journey, here. So I can really relate to that.
I was in California, and I did 6 days. It's the second year in a row. I did 6 days of how I train for PSA 3. And I basically give people all the knowledge that I can in 6 days. And I lost my voice. But I lost my voice because I got really excited. Yeah. And I was yelling out of excitement, right? I wasn't yelling because I was angry. I was yelling because watching these dogs progress just like produced all this dopamine in my brain. And it was like being at a sports game. You start screaming out of excitement. And so I lost my voice for a good reason. I'm still trying to get it back. Yeah. Right. I taught in a month and a half. I taught, it's like 21 days, 21 seminars, right? Like it was a lot of work, but because I love it so much, it was invigorating. And I made multiple people on this trip cry tears of joy, tears of passion, because dog trainer burnout is something that's serious. And, I always feel like I'm the venue to get people out of that dog trainer burnout, because I've had it 4 times in my career. I'm coming up on 20 years. Yeah. Right. People are like, "Oh, Jonathan, you're so good." I'm like, it's how many hours does it take to become a professional at something? 10,000 hours. Yep. I'm just like 19,000 hours in, I'm just coming up on 20 years. It's just about putting the work in and flowing with the dog and understanding what the dog needs. It's not how I feel, it's how the dog feels. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So explain to people how important it is to have the right team around you when it comes to getting a title dog or titling a dog, because, we talk about, with bringing Trevor on, I had to start surrounding myself around the right people, because it took me about 4 or 5 years, because I started surrounding myself around wrong individuals who had bad intentions, and I wasn't aware of them, and, I wasn't a good leader at the time because I didn't have any experience being a leader. Yeah. When it comes to getting a 3, how important is the team? We say it takes a village. And if you don't have a village, and this is a lot of people that they see me, so like I had 6 me and 5 other club members in California. We all work together as a team. Everyone sees the team, and people were like getting sad by way of seeing that, well, I don't have that team at home that you have. And I go, do you know how many years it took me to put this team together? Do you know how many years it took me to figure out who are the people that I'm supposed to keep in my camp? Who are the people that I should not let around me? Yeah. Right? Like big life lessons. And so
and I'd imagine you got screwed over a few times. and I'm just asking, you're a very positive person, but we unfortunately have to learn things.
Hey, how many times I told you I probably made about a few $1 million worth of bad decision mistakes, having the wrong people around me.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. But it takes you time to learn. And once you realize, like, who should I give it to? Who should I allow into my family? My village. And the village needs everyone. The village needs a baker, and the village needs, a blacksmith.
Yeah.
I need my decoys, but I also need non-decoys.
I take you like history as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, I love history because history repeats itself, and history is tangible. Now, part of it is who tells the story.
Yeah.
Most of the story is told by the victors, but like history is tangible to me. I like tangible things. Trust me, I love the Insta likes as much as everyone else, but I care about that tangibility of that title.
So I come up with a theory, and it's been proven to be right. So I don't ever give a shit about that stuff. I do things based on my plan.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now, I screenshot and sent a video the other day of something that had like 86 views.
Yeah.
Now it has 7,000 likes.
Yeah.
And so when people look at their time frames even,
yeah,
I got to post it this. I'm like this. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm fucking posting this. And another video.
Yeah.
Now it has 1.1 million views that I posted. And it was like 2 in the morning when I posted these dogs was being funny. And so in basically 48 hours, the count grew, we'll say by 1,000, 2,000 people. And there are people from PTSD.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories in the past 48 hours and I'm so glad I found it. Hey, we actually raise rabbits, rescue dogs. Never thought about buying a full-bred dog. And now I'm thinking we need to buy a dog that comes from a good breeder. So the likes thing, it's interesting because you're right. They get addicted to it.
Yeah.
They'll delete their post if it doesn't get a certain amount of likes in the first 5 minutes, right? Yeah. I'm like,
it's designed that way.
They got 12 likes. I don't give a shit.
But also everyone can be national champion of their basement.
Yeah.
Everyone's national champion of their backyard, but there's only one national champion, and there's only one second place and one third place in each level each year, right? So,
I only said that because you said the victor, and I like that because when the victor tells a story, it's always a story of glory, right? Yeah. So you understood the importance of losing while also embracing the wins, but knowing most importantly the work that goes into it.
I embrace my loses, right? Like, to me, you don't learn from success. You learn from failure.
Absolutely.
And so I live through my failures, and I live through trauma, and I turn it into body armor, right? I use it to make myself stronger, right? It's about taking what was a negative and turning it into a positive because, again, no one learns from success. No one's ever won national champion and go like, oh, I did this right and that right. Like, no. When you didn't stand on the podium, you're like, man, what did I do wrong? How did I not properly prepare this dog? And, some people will get mad at the dog. I'm like, it's not the dog's fault. It's your fault. Well, the dog didn't do what you
Winning don't give a shit. Yeah. Winning does not sympathize. It moves on, right? Yeah. It moves
always
on.
and forever.
Yeah. But my thing is I try to teach with humility because I try to teach people my mistakes. Just don't repeat what I did.
Yeah.
Right? I'm very lucky to have mentors that taught me their mistakes.
Yeah. Preventative care, man.
Yes,
I tell us, guys,
care.
I'm only telling you this because you don't want to do that. I promise you. I've seen it all.
And even if people are not looking to have their dog, look like they're ripped, like X-Dog Vest is part of preventative care.
Absolutely.
Right? Like it's part of, I've been following Stan for, over 10 years, and to see what he's done is amazing. And to see how far this has come, started from the first one, started from the bottom, now we're here. And it's only going to get bigger, right? Think about, I'm coming in 20 years, like what's going to happen at the 30-year mark, right? And, I always look at dog training as I was taught to look at as a chef. You're only as good as the last meal you cooked.
Yeah.
Could I have done one PSA 3 and retired? Sure. It's absolutely amazing accomplishment. Only 31 dogs have ever been able to do it, but what's 3 is a pattern.
Yeah.
Right? So clearly what I'm doing is right. I know what I'm doing because I've taken all these years of failure and used them to create success.
Yeah, and I think that's what's fucked up right now, especially with social media. A lot of victims have voices, and then you have these great people who have these great ideas who get paralyzed, and they won't even position themselves to fail because they get a little kickback from just a small community of people, you know. And so, you've endured it, and it's like, man, it was a fucking mountain to climb, but at the same time, you appreciate it. Now they're like, let's go climb another fucking mountain.
Yeah. And years ago, there was a trainer who was posting, I call it Facebook bombing. You post your video in every single group that'll allow you to post it. And he was posting these amazing videos, and he looked really good in a very short period of time. And I said, cool, I think it looks awesome, but he's getting ready to compete. Let's see what it looks like on the field. Because the field is what tests it for me. And it just so happened that I was stewarding that day that the guy came to compete. And he comes to the field, dog's giving him the most beautiful heads of peel. He takes the dog's collar off, and now the dog tracks the entire routine in a PDC. And I said, dude, you're too high on your internet success, but you want to compete. It's about the competition. It's about the dog. It's not about your views. Stop posting videos. Get good.
You told him
post the videos. What?
You told him this.
And what do you mean by tracks, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by tracks?
Sorry, the dog sniffed.
Okay.
Instead of the head up being staring at the handler, staring into the handler's eyes,
Gotcha.
The dog is sniffing the ground. Because the dog was national champion of his backyard, right? Now, we all want different things out of the dog, right? Like I say, pet dogs work on salary and working dogs work on commission. They both have to work, but they have different jobs.
Yeah.
You know, like what's the job of my pet dog? When I come home, like be cute, give me love and affection, right? Like companionship. But a working dog, I need that dog to perform.
Yeah.
You know, when I was studying obedience and trying to actually understand how to do this properly, I spent hours and hours watching these little old ladies on YouTube dog dancing with their golden retrievers.
Yeah.
And it was all done through positive reinforcement. It looks beautiful. It's precise. She's got two dogs. One dog does a movement this way. Another dog does a movement this way. It's the most beautiful, purest thing I had ever seen. It's like dancing with your dog. Mm-hmm. And so I just took that as part of like, let me put that into my obedience. I want to dance with my dog, and then I want my dog to dance with the decoy.
It's kind of like they used to frown upon Herschel Walker taking ballet.
Yeah.
I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all those guys went and took those stretched, because you got to learn how to show.
GSP.
I got flex, but I got muscles, but if I don't know how to show them, then I'm butt up here when I'm,
George St. Pierre is doing gymnastics to train for MMA.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, not to get on the dark side, but recently there was a mass shooting in South Texas, right? And that killed 19 people at an elementary. And it seems like there's been a lot of this happening around the country. Taking a dog like yours, how would you address that scenario? Because it seemed like you think a dog like a PSA level 3 dog could have handled a situation like that and maybe saved some lives?
So you'll hear people in the police community or protection community will say that a PSA 3 dog is unrealistic because the dog has too much control. But you can't say the dog has too much control if the dog that has the power in protection. So really, like a PSA 3 dog you could take that dog and put that dog on a SWAT team with some specific training, but that dog is used to ignoring people around them, being on task, being told what to do, take commands, do what I tell you to do. So like, could a dog help? For sure. But like the escalator, guns have to equal guns, unfortunately. Now, if the dog can slow things down and the dog can give us time, like my dog's job is only to hold the person off till I can get to my gun.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm a libertarian, so just don't tread on me.
Yeah.
You know, so
the equalizer.
But it's crazy to me that even in Texas, but I go and I read the stories. The guy, the off-duty Border Patrol agent that went, he was getting a haircut.
Yeah.
And he heard about his wife texted him. She was a teacher in the school. And he grabbed the barber's shotgun and went right to the school and went in, got his wife and kid, which is most important, took them out because that's his job, and then went back in and neutralized the shooter. So, like they say, well, let's require teachers to carry guns. Well, that's not fair, because if I don't want to carry a gun, you can't require me to do that.
Yeah.
But people that are trained, I saw a video of, I forgot where it was, but they had the head of security, the dean, like the principal, everyone, they like took out their 45 and they're like, 45 ACP, like the secretary has an LC9, a little 380 in her pocket, right?
Yeah.
But, like to me, we have to protect ourselves. And, that's what's crazy to me, that even in Texas, where I think like if my grandmother lived in Texas, she'd have a revolver in her purse.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of sad that this is the state that we live in now. It's not the guns, right? It's the people.
Always.
Like it's not the dogs, it's the people that own the dogs when the dogs do bad things.
Absolutely.
So I think that dogs could help, but it's only just to slow things down, to distract, right?
They're part of the strategy or the plan per se versus like, hey,
but it has to be
there.
only it's a step in the plan because you need shooters to take down shooters.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so before we close this out, I didn't forget a would you rather. So. All right, so we always try to do a would you rather. All right, so I got this one for you guys. So would you rather take a chance of trying to get a box worth $10 million located in a rattlesnake den, or trying to get the same box in a 1 mile radius that is known to have 2 tigers who have already killed multiple people in the village next to it and haven't ate for weeks? Now, the catch is you can only use the environment and create tools from nature's environment. Man. And by the way, you only got 1 hour to retrieve the box.
I'd call Tarzan, the black guy.
Yeah, there you go.
He can go deal with the snakes.
There you go.
You're like, hey, brother, I'm going to split this with you, all right?
There you
it's part
go.
of being strategic. You're good with snakes? I don't fool with them.
I'm just saying, what would you rather do?
I was about to say, because I was going to say, I'm going to hit Tiger King up.
I would have been a strategy. If it had to be, I'd probably deal with snakes faster than I deal with. Snakes aren't as aggressive people think.
Yeah.
They're really
Snakes
calm.
are afraid of us.
Yeah, they really react and respond. So like any animal, a lot of times it's about energy.
Yeah.
But tigers, I'm not running up on no tiger.
I mean, so normally, other than the variable of the mile radius, I'd rather deal with the 2 tigers because he said I can use my environment, right? Like Coming to America 2, where he built the cage. Yeah. I'm like, cool, I'll do something like that. I'll do something camouflage, but the mile radius is going to be the variable for me.
Yeah.
Whereas you just had that box there. Yeah, I'd probably do, and I don't like snakes.
Oh, I hate snakes.
I hate them.
But I'd probably deal with the snakes than, trying to traverse that mile.
Yeah.
I'd probably hit the tigers, man.
Yeah.
I'd probably hit the tigers personally, man. And like you said, just utilizing your environment. The snakes, man. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, because there's hundreds of snakes. But again, the rattlesnakes warn you. You know?
Yeah. Boy, then they start rattling though. I mean, you'd be like,
But that's the thing. It's like
you got to control your energy.
I've seen some videos with people who really understand alligator behavior. Like they'll run up on an alligator, but they're like, he's not in a good mood today. Yeah. And you gotta. Those people live there though.
Yeah. But I mean, alligator can only strike at a short distance.
Yeah.
They only have a certain amount of speed for a short distance. Plus, what is it, like 7,000 pounds of pressure closing, only 100 pounds of pressure opening.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing the animal, right? But big cats, they have big teeth and they have big claws.
Yeah, and they have a lot more. They're more swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, agile.
Yeah, this is true. But you said we were inside
because they're going to be hunting you.
Yeah,
you ain't hunting them.
Yeah,
well, that's why
like
you're
a snake.
fine. I'm going to go get this. A snake gonna leave you alone. Like the snake's never going to like run after.
It's not going to hunt you.
Yeah.
But that tiger.
Hey, but
Right,
utilizing the
he's on a
environment, I'm killing some rabbits, whatever, and I'm setting the things up, man.
That ain't enough.
Hey, but
You're not feeding the goat, bro.
something to distract, and then
I'll go with the snakes too, man. I think I'm going to do with the snakes.
You learn real quick.
Well, man, first of all, I want to say thank you. You inspire me, Jonathan, for real. Like, I appreciate you taking the time coming over here, man. And if there's anything that we can do to support you in any way, shape, or form, man, we're here for you. And with that being said, where can everybody find you?
So I don't have a website currently because I can't deal with the amount of people that contact me already. And with a website, like I can't field all the calls. And if you contact me and then I don't message you back, like I'm an asshole, right? So you can find me on Instagram, right? Katz Knows Dogs, KATZ, KNOWSDOGS. Yeah. And, you can add me on Facebook, but, you will start seeing more things coming up.
Good.
Look out for my YouTube channel.
Man, hey,
that's
look,
coming soon.
Live in that short stage, man. You get them shorts, man. Had 89 followers at the beginning. We're at 11,000 now.
Yeah.
Just get in
there. And same thing to you, Stan. Like, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I've been following you for many years and, watching the people. Everyone's always going to hate the successful person.
Sure.
Because they're jealous. It took me a really, really, really long time to realize I grew up, I needed everyone to like me.
Yeah.
And then as I started gaining success, I said, man, why do all these people that have never met me hate me? It's jealousy, right? People, I watch how people react, and it bothers them that you're so successful that they don't have that success.
Drake said it best. Jealousy is just love and hate at the same time.
And I respect your determination, right? The you know, like this empire that you have right now, like you built that from the ground up. Yeah. This is tangible. What we're holding, I hold that vest is tangible.
Yeah.
You know, the success is tangible. And, you know, again, like the following is like the, you know, as I said, like the Insta likes are important, but what you have, that's tangible. And so that's why I was like, man, you know, we got to see each other in Arkansas at Nationals, but, you know, like we got to do that interview 10 years ago. And I really appreciate you because you gave me a venue to be able to talk, right? Who else did you have on that? You had Larry Hansen, who's one of my idols, right? Pitbull Larry, like Michael Ellis, right? I think you had Jerry on there. Like you had all these top trainers, and for, you know, to like growing up being very self-deprecating, like, man, you know, to sit there and to be interviewed on the same interview that, you know, all these people that I look up to, it's like it built confidence in me of, man, what I am doing is right. You know, what the work that I'm putting in is gaining success because guys like you that didn't know me from the hole in the wall were recommended, right? Shout out to Bill. Thank you, Bill, because we would have never met, you know, or I'm sure at some point, but, you know, you gave me that opportunity, and that was, I want to say that was the first interview I've ever done. And you can go on YouTube now, and you can go on podcasts, and you can find, you know, I've probably given maybe 20 interviews. And anytime someone asks me to do an interview, I love to do it. But I reached out to Sabrina. And I said, I haven't seen my buddy Stan in a while, and we haven't done this in 10 years. Like, for kids, for the younger generation, like, as he said, you had to go, like, we had social media, but you had to go on the internet. And I remember you dropped every Wednesday night at 9 p.m., and I used to sit there and wait and listen to it live.
Damn, that's crazy.
Because I wanted to hear what the trainers said.
Yeah.
And then when you asked me to do it, I was truly honored, right? And that's why I wanted to come and I wanted to do this. And it's even cooler because last time we did it over the phone. Yeah. For us to actually be here and actually make eye contact. Like, I do a lot of phone interviews, but it's the in-person, us talking back and forth. You know, you didn't just, you know, it's not just ask me a question and then I just talk for 20 minutes, which I've done a lot of those, and those are awesome too, but I love this, the back and forth. So the amount of love and respect you have for me is the same amount of love and respect I have for you. I appreciate that. And you talked about art earlier, so we're going to close this up and we're going to go, you're going to go get to experience some of Trevor's art. Hell yeah. This guy's an artist. Yeah. And so we're going to put something together for you. Hell but guys, thank you again for tuning in, man. I hope you guys got some golden gems out of this. I know you will. Tune in. Congratulations to the winner. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram within the next 7 days if you want to get your prize. We're going to move on after that. And but man, do us a solid. We're doing this for free. We're actually investing into this to bring you guys value. All we ask in return is to pay your dues by maybe just liking, sharing, giving us a review. That's going to help us out a lot and continue to allow us to give you more value. So as always, thank you again, and Team X Dog Strong.